Hello, and welcome to today's episode of the Daily Blend. I'm your host, AC, and we have in studio with us today Alex LaBrunerie from LaBrunerie Financial. Hello, Alex.
Thank you, AC. Great to be here.
Absolutely great to have you back. This is all familiar to you, right?
It is. It is.
We flipped a little bit,
We
but
flipped.
you feel like you're at home.
It
Thank
looks
you.
great. Yes. Thank you very much
Thank you.
welcoming me.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, I just wanted to jump right in because when I hear financial advisor, one of the first questions that comes to my mind is, do you need to be wealthy to have a financial advisor?
That's an excellent question, and it kind of reminds me of a joke Steve Martin used to say: "How to become a millionaire? First, get $1 million."
Yes.
So, with some firms, they do have minimums.
Okay.
But the financial services firm, our firm, does not and has not since 1966, because the way average people create, solid wealth is through monthly savings. Either, first at the bank and then maybe in a mutual fund and then maybe a workplace 401k or a self-employed 401k if you're self-employed, or an individual retirement account, which has been around since the 1970s. And many investment firms open their doors. $50 a month contribution
Really?
Is not uncommon with some of the large mutual fund companies like American Funds and other funds like that. Those are big mutual fund companies, and they
Yes.
provide excellent returns based on the past. Nothing's guaranteed.
Right.
So no, you can start and should start with smaller amounts, and over time it accumulates, and then the market compounds the money, hopefully, and by the time one is in their 60s or 70s, they've accumulated a lot of money.
That is really, that whole compound,
Yeah.
the idea of
Yes.
things compounding, it makes you think that, you should grab your 18-year-olds.
You should, and it's really hard to believe. I mean, in Missouri, it's hard to understand this, but if a 20-year-old puts $2,000 a year into her IRA for the first 10 years of her adulthood, to age 30,
Yeah.
she'll have more money at age 70 than if she started at age 30 and then did $2,000 a month thereafter, because of that miracle, quote unquote, of compounding interest.
That is, I'm going to tell my
Yeah.
18-year-old daughter
Yes.
that when I get home.
Yes.
She should know that.
Of all the parents out there.
Yeah, all
certainly.
the parents out there, that is really good to know. And, sometimes traditionally, if you don't come from a family
Yes.
that has invested in the past.
That's very important, and we've got to break that cycle. And that's why I think wherever and whenever we can, because it's a barrier, it's a mental barrier.
Yes.
And there are people do. A lot of firms say, no, you have to have $10,000 or $250,000. So it's very intimidating. And then you've got to find someone you trust.
Yes.
That's obstacle number 2. So it's sort of a problem.
Yeah.
Workplace sponsored plans are an excellent place to work.
Yes.
To start with, but that's not for everyone, because not everyone has a 401k.
That. Yes.
But that's a good place to start. And then, our firm, we are, we started in that type of business back in the 60s when my dad started the firm.
Okay. So this is a family.
Yeah.
Family-owned company.
Yeah, we've been in Columbia since then.
Okay.
There are some new, so there's a Congress and the government has continued to make saving for retirement affordable.
Yes.
So there's a lot of tax breaks, which, this being around tax season now, we ought to remind people to, open up an IRA or talk to their accountant, or if they do their taxes themselves on one of those online
The TurboTax.
TurboTax, yeah, to fill out and make the leap and do an IRA.
Okay.
And see what that looks like if you're new to just starting an IRA. And then, but what Congress has done is, if for income levels under 40,000 or such, there's some break points. There is a saver's credit under what's called the Secure Act 2.0. So that's a stimulus for people who may not, feel like they can save because of their income levels, to get a credit, to
Yes.
push them across the starting line so they can have a good finishing line when they're retired. So they call it Secure Point 2 Tax Credit.
Okay.
Act. So
And that's something that I would imagine, like I've used some of the online
Yeah.
services before, and generally the services have been pretty good about alerting you of different things.
they are, aren't they?
Yeah, they are very good at that. And so that's something that people should definitely be looking
Yes,
out for.
yeah. That's right. So whether they work with a local accountant or if they do it themselves, this is a good time to say, I want to start saving for retirement or increase what has already been done.
Yes, and I just want to also add another way that I have found, especially if if you have children in your life or
Yeah.
if you're thinking ahead to when they're going to go to college, it's like 529s are really
529s
a
are
great way
excellent.
to,
And our state gives a state tax deduction
Yes.
for any 529 you open. And so those are very important. And they grow tax-free if they're used for qualified educational expenses.
And it doesn't not, if I'm not mistaken, does it have to just be for college? Can it
No.
be for private school
In
or
Missouri, it can be for parochial schools or K through 12 private schools.
hmm And do I have to be a parent? Can I be a grandparent?
You
and
can be an
open one?
aunt, you can be a grandparent,
Oh.
you can be, I think, a sister
Mm-hmm.
or an aunt.
Yeah.
And yes, so
That's-
it's important. And
It
college
is.
is so expensive.
Oh.
that we have, but that we can talk about some of that later on
Yes.
future shows on how young people can manage their debt out of college.
Oh my goodness. Please
Yeah.
let's talk about that.
We'll do that for sure.
I have a senior right now, and looking
Good.
at the cost of college is scary.
Yes. Well, that's a good time to start.
Yes, it is. Well, I have two more coming behind behind her, so we'll be paying for college for a
Okay.
long time. So we got to chat about
Yes.
how to make that happen.
Well, I'll be delighted to.
Absolutely. Thank you so much
Thank
for joining
you.
us, Alex.
I'll see you later.
Yes, you will.